There is one thing that separates us from every other creature on earth. We know we will die. We measure time, we make plans, we chase meaning. Because in some quiet corner of our minds we hear the ticking. But what happens when someone refuses to die? 4,000 years ago, a king walked on the earth, half god, half man. His name was Gilgamesh. He was strong, he was feared, he believed he was untouchable. But then, his best friend died, and everything changed. This isn't just a myth. It's the first recorded story of a man asking, "Must I die too?" In this video, we'll journey through that ancient tale, a story of power, friendship, grief, and a desperate quest for immortality. And along the way, we will ask the question still unanswered today. If death is certain, what makes life worth living? Before he sought answers, Gilgamesh ruled the city of Uruk like a tyrant. But he was unmatched in strength, towering in presence. But what is strength without wisdom? He oppressed his people, he took what he wanted, he violated women, even brides on their wedding night. His arrogance echoed so loudly that the people of Uruk cried out to the gods, and the gods answered. They would not destroy Gilgamesh. Instead, they would send him a challenge, an equal, someone wild, someone untouched by civilization, someone who could remind Gilgamesh of what he had lost. They created Enkidu. Enkidu was born from clean and divine intention. He roamed the wilderness, spoke the language of animals, and lived in the harmony with the earth. But to confront Gilgamesh, Enkidu had to change. A temple priestess was sent to seduce him. Through 6 days and 7 nights of intimacy, Enkidu was transformed, not just in body, but in soul. The wild man became aware. He began to feel hunger, shame, curiosity. He dressed himself, he drank wine, he ate bread. He became human. But with that transformation came with a loss. The animals no longer recognized him. They fled from his shen. He had stepped out of the wild and into the world of men. And with that, he heard of Gilgamesh, the king who defiled brides and ruled through fear. Enkidu was filled with righteous anger. He would not let the injustice continue. He would journey to Uruk, not as a beast, but as a man, to challenge a king, to become his reflection. When Enkidu arrived in Uruk, the city trembled. Two forces, wild and royal, collided at the palace gates. Without words, they fought. Their strength shook the city. The ground echoed with their struggle. But neither could win, and perhaps that was the point. In each other, they saw something familiar. For the first time, Gilgamesh met someone who could match him, not just in strength, but in spirit. The battle ended, and in its place, something rare and powerful was born: friendship. Gilgamesh and Enkidu became brothers in all but blood. They laughed, they dreamt, they challenged the gods. Together, they set out to slay the monster Humbaba, then the bull of heaven, and they succeeded. But in doing so, they crossed the line. The gods, angered by their defiance, made a decision. One of them must die, and it wouldn't be the half-god one. Enkidu fell ill. His body, once wild and strong, withered. Gilgamesh would do nothing but watch. For the first time, the mighty king was powerless. When Enkidu died, a part of Gilgamesh died with him. What remained was a man who had finally understood the meaning of loss and the fear of his own end. Gilgamesh wept. He tore his clothes. He wandered the wilderness. But it wasn't just grief that drove him. It was terror. He had watched his equal, his friend, his brother die. and for the first time he knew, if Enkidu can die, so can I. Thus began the king's second journey, not for power or glory, but a way to escape death. He sought out Utnapishtim, the only man said to have achieved immortality. On the way, Gilgamesh faced lions, crossed vast deserts, and met a wise tavern keeper who told him, "You will not find what you are looking for. No one escapes death." But Gilgamesh refused to stop. Finally, he reached Utnapishtim and begged to know the secret. Instead of an answer, he was given a challenge. Stay awake for 7 days. If you cannot defeat sleep, how will you defeat death? Gilgamesh tried, but within moments he fell asleep. He slept for days, and when he awoke, Utnapishtim said, "See, even sleep defeats you. And sleep is but the brother of death." That was the moment when the king of Uruk began to understand. Death is not a punishment, it is a boundary, and no man, not even a king, can cross it. Utnapishtim, moved by Gilgamesh's persistence, offered one final hope. Far beneath the water lies a plant. It will not make you immortal, but it will make you young again. Gilgamesh dove into the depths and retrieved it. At last, something to take home, something to offer his people. But on the journey back, he stopped to rest. He laid the plant side beside him. He closed his eyes, and while he slept, a serpent came. Silently, it took the plant, and with it, the final hope of youth and renewal. Gilgamesh awoke to find it gone. He watched the snake slither away, shedding its skin as it disappeared, renewed. While he remained unchanged, he had failed, but in that failure, he found clarity. Immortality would never be his, but perhaps something else could be. A legacy, a city, a story. Gilgamesh returned to Uruk, and for the first time, he saw it not as his playground, but as his creation. A place that would outlive him, and that would be enough. Gilgamesh did not become immortal, but his story did. It is the oldest story we know, carved into the clay 4,000 years ago. And yet, it asks the same questions we still ask today. What does it mean to live, knowing we will die? Can a legacy outlive a life? And what makes a hero, his strength or his wisdom? Gilgamesh teaches us that mortality is not a flaw to be overcome, but a truth to be embraced. That even the strongest fall, that friendship matters, that grief changes us, and that the things we build, the lives we touch, those are what endure. In the end, Gilgamesh was not saved by gods, or by plants, or by power. He was saved by understanding, and perhaps so can we. And somewhere in that quiet corner of the mind, the ticking grows softer.